economy is $23 trillion. Mexico's economy is $1.3 trillion. Ours is 18 times bigger. We buy $400 billion every year from Mexico. Without the people of America, Mexico, figuratively speaking, would be eating cat food out of a can and living in a tent behind an outback.
Come back to what I'm trying to understand then. If the FBI has uncovered evidence that alleges criminal conduct by the president.
Just tell them what. I'm sorry.
Sorry. And you then, I presume, hand this to the DOJ if you uncover this. But I understand the DOJ's policy is they're not going to charge a sitting president while that person is president. And the DOJ is not going to provide that information to Congress, not going to comply with subpoenas for documents. It feels to me like it's a dog chasing its tail. And the question is, if illegal conduct is alleged or uncovered, how does the Congress or the American public ever get that evidence?
Well, the two cartels that are sending fentanyl into the United States are located in Mexico, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
And isn't it a fact that we could stop those cartels in their tracks if President Lopez Obrador would invite American military and/or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with his military and law enforcement personnel?
Senator, what I would say from my purview as the head of the DEA.
But is my statement true or not?
What I would say is that we're focused on the two cartels, who we believe are doing exactly what you say. They are responsible for the fentanyl coming
Let me
into
ask
the
you
United
again.
States.
If President Lopez Obrador invited American law enforcement officials to come into Mexico to work with the same in Mexico, we could stop the cartels, could we not?
Senator, I believe this is a whole of government effort and has to be, including whether it's the military, us, FBI,
Now,
and others.
Madam Administrator, I've listened to you here for almost an hour telling us how bad fentanyl is. Thank you for that, but we know.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you a third time. If President Lopez Obrador invited the American military and/or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with the same in Mexico, we could stop the cartels. Isn't that a fact?
So, Senator, I can speak to the law enforcement side of this, and you just mentioned law enforcement. I believe that this is vital for both Mexico and the United States. Mexicans are dying as well, as we showed in the Chapitos.
Well, then why don't we stop them?
So
would it help? Let me ask you a fourth time. Would it help if President Lopez Obrador, I don't think it's a complicated question, Madam Administrator. You're asking us for more money every year, more money, and it gets worse, worse, and worse. You know, in the real world, the nitty-gritty of the real world, when you fail, you get fired. In government, when you fail, you get more money because obviously you need it. Now, let me ask you a fourth time. If President Lopez Obrador, and I'd appreciate an answer, if President Lopez Obrador invited the American military and/or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with his, we could stop the cartels, couldn't we?
I believe, Senator, that we can stop the cartels.
Okay, have you made that suggestion to President Biden?
If I could, I believe that we can stop the cartels by...
Have you made that suggestion to President Biden?
Senator, I have been very vocal in the whole of government setting on the importance of fentanyl, and all of us using every single effort and authority that we have.
Why hasn't President Biden done it? I mean, this is the way the American people, whose sons and daughters are dying, look at it. Our economy is $23 trillion. Mexico's economy is $1.3 trillion. Ours is 18 times bigger. We buy $400 billion every year from Mexico. Without the people of America, Mexico, figuratively speaking, would be eating cat food out of a can and living in a tent behind an outback. So why don't you and the president, embarrassing no one, get on the phone and call President Lopez Obrador and make him a deal he can't refuse to allow our military and our law enforcement officials to go into Mexico and work with his to stop the cartels. Why don't you do that?
Senator, what I am doing every single day is working with the incredible men and women of DEA who are risking their lives across 334 offices worldwide.
And I appreciate that,
Stop
but you're not doing what would work. Why won't you do what will work?
Senator, we are.
Why don't you call the president this afternoon and say, Mr. President, let's call President Lopez Obrador privately and make him a deal he can't refuse. Because we both know that President Lopez Obrador has neither the ability nor the will to stop the cartels. But yet we go along and pretend that they're our friends, and Mexico is our friend. But he has criminal organizations that are killing our people. And you know how to stop it. And the president does. And you're not doing it.
Senator, we are working every day to stop it.
But you're not doing what would stop it.
We are transforming, and we are working in countless ways across the globe to do what needs to be done for the American people. And there is nothing that the men and
when
women...
it's important to you, you make it happen. When it's not important to you, you make an excuse.
Thank you.
Senator Grassley and Chairman Comer subpoenaed an FBI document containing an allegation regarding a pay-to-play scheme between then Vice President Biden and a foreign national, and your response was due just a little bit earlier today. So my question is, has the FBI complied with the subpoena for this document?
I believe we submitted a lengthy letter earlier today.
A letter, but not the document that was the subject of the subpoena request?
I can't speak to the specific document. We are committed to working collaboratively with both committees, but we also have to balance sources and methods and ongoing investigations, and we will continue to work through the accommodation process as has happened many times in the past.
Was there a plan to submit the document, or will it be never submitted, or has there been a conclusion?
I would refer to the letter, which is, I think, quite detailed and kind of goes through a fair amount of discussion about our proposed approach.
To addressing the document. I do want to confirm, though, the document does exist, the FD 1023.
I really can't get into the specifics here. I will tell you that we understand completely the importance of congressional oversight. That's important to me. I also understand very much, as I think you do, the importance of us protecting sources and methods and ongoing investigations, and we're committed to try to work through the process.
I had a frustrating conversation last year with Attorney General Garland about something I'm still trying to understand here, and that's how the Biden administration can impartially investigate the Biden family. So I want to come back to that with you, if I could, today to get at it a little bit deeper. My first question is whether you or anybody else at the FBI has communicated with White House employees or with Attorney General Garland or with DOJ staff regarding investigations that pertain to President Biden or to any member of his family.
Well, I certainly have not communicated with the White House about any investigation on that subject. My instructions to our...
And would that also include Attorney General Garland and the DOJ staff?
Well, I don't know that I can get into any discussions I had with Attorney General Garland. I talk to him, probably every day, one way or another, about all sorts of investigations, so that one's a little trickier. But what I will tell you is, as you know, I'm an FBI director appointed by the previous president, and our agents in our Baltimore field office are working with a U.S. attorney from the previous administration, that is the U.S. attorney in Delaware, on, I think, the investigation you're referring to. And my expectations of our agents on every investigation, which I communicate like a broken record, are that we are to follow the facts wherever they lead, to whomever they lead, no matter who likes it, no matter who it makes happy or unhappy.
So would that Delaware U.S. attorney be the person then responsible for deciding about unlawful evidence of unlawful conduct by the president and about what to do with that evidence?
Well, again, I don't want to engage in hypotheticals, but the Delaware U.S. Attorney is leading, I think, the investigation that has been publicly disclosed that you're, I think, referring to.
Let me just come back to what I'm trying to understand then. If the FBI has has uncovered evidence that alleges criminal conduct by the president.
Just tell them what. I'm sorry.
Sorry. And you then, I presume, hand this to the DOJ if you uncover this. But I understand the DOJ's policy is they're not going to charge a sitting president while that person is president. And the DOJ is not going to provide that information to Congress, not going to comply with subpoenas for documents. It feels to me like it's a dog chasing its tail. And the question is, if illegal conduct is alleged or uncovered, how does the Congress or the American public ever get that evidence?
Well, the decisions made by DOJ about how to staff prosecutions, which U.S. attorney's offices, which counsel to appoint, all those sorts of things are entrusted by regulation to the department, to the Attorney General. I can speak to what the FBI's role is and my expectations of FBI agents, and those are the ones I've communicated.
But to be clear, if evidence were uncovered by the FBI, you would hand that over to the DOJ. They then make the determination, whether it's the Attorney General or, in this case, the Delaware U.S. Attorney, what to do with that evidence. And again, their policy is not to charge a sitting president, and we can't get the evidence in Congress. Is that correct?
Decisions about who to charge, what to charge, those are decisions made by prosecutors at the Justice Department, including the U.S. Attorney in Delaware. And decisions about the Justice Department's communications about its decision-making are the Justice Department's decisions. I don't want to speak for them on that.
We're right back at where we started without being able to clarify how we have an impartial investigation here, and I appreciate the opportunity to get some oversight. It's just very frustrating when we can't. Thank you,
Thank you,
Director.
Senator Hagerty.